The GOP-dominated House of Representatives yesterday passed a bill that would block the funding of President Obama's executive action on immigration, easing deportation requirements for a number of undocumented people. The bill funds the Department of Homeland Security while leaving out monies for the immigration policy. DHS's funding ends on February 27th, and a major battle over it is likely to ensue as President Obama has threatened to veto the bill. The House has also introduced a federal abortion ban for all pregnancies of more than 20 weeks along. Meanwhile, setting its sight on the White House, there is still no clear GOP candidate for the presidential nomination, although the field of personalities keeps growing. Former presidential candidate Mitt Romney has strongly hinted that he would aim for the nomination despite losing to President Obama in 2012. G.W. Bush's brother, Jeb, former Florida governor, is so serious about being the nominee that he recently resigned from the boards of a number of corporations. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who has already begun hiring campaign staff, and Florida Senator Marco Rubio are also candidates in what is being seen as a very crowded field. Among Democrats, many seem to have assumed Hillary Clinton will be the main candidate. And in California, Senator Barbara Boxer announced her intention to retire, setting off excitement over her coveted seat. Attorney General Kamala Harris appears to be a likely candidate. My guest is John Nichols. He's a contributing writer for The Progressive and In These Times, an associate editor for the Capital Times in Madison, Wisconsin. He's written a number of books, including my favorite, not least because of its title, Uprising, How Wisconsin Renewed the Politics of Protest from Madison to Wall Street. Hi, John.
Hello, Sonali. I hope we can see each other well.
Yes. Now, on immigration, the GOP laid the groundwork for this DHS funding bill last year when they funded the government, leaving out funding for the Department of Homeland Security. They're capitalizing on this groundwork that they laid last year. It's an impressive strategy, but could it work? Could they actually undo Obama's executive action?
It's possible, but all of this is going to be wrestled with in the courts. And remember, it's the Republicans who have said they want to take these issues to court. They've hired some top lawyers. They're spending our tax dollars to do that. And so there's going to be a huge wrestling on these issues. Remember, the president has a significant amount of authority to issue executive orders. And he has done that in the past. And I think the important thing for people to understand is that in many ways, this is a national debate. And the debate goes beyond what Congress does with one spending bill or what the president does. It really involves kind of putting these issues out front and saying, what do you want to see happen? The Republicans are going to try every stunt they can to undermine what the president has done. The president needs to push back. He needs to aggressively explain what he's doing and why. You can't just let this fade away into the courts and let it remain, kind of in limbo for a long period of time. And the one key thing I would remind people of is that the way to see this intervention by the president is not merely as an immigration statement, not merely as an initiative as regards immigration. While that is highly important, and while past presidents have used executive orders on immigration, it's important to understand that there are times in history when presidents must step up to do what Congress will not do, when issues are not addressed, especially when those issues involve historically marginalized or underprivileged, underpowered peoples. And if we look back historically, we see Franklin Roosevelt, at the behest of civil rights campaigners in 1941, integrated the defense industries. Harry Truman integrated the military in 1948. In the 1950s and 1960s, Presidents Eisenhower, Kennedy, and Johnson made major initiatives as regards integrating the public workforces and affirmative action in a whole host of ways. And all of this was done with executive orders.
Right.
Sometimes we have to understand that's the way it's done.